What's going on, everyone? Happy Wednesday. Hope you're getting over that hump. Here it is hump day, and we're getting you guys rock and rolling to help you get ready for the rest of the week. Hope you guys had a great MLB All Star Game experience. That's a hot topic for today's show. Really centered around, was this a huge success for Major League Baseball? Well, I certainly think that MLB, it's a huge win. But we know there's a lot of people that still aren't happy with that whole situation, and we'll get into that and a lot more. But we're also, what we're getting into at just the top of the hour here at 3 p.m., he's a writer, and you see him on the video of MLB.com, MLB Pipeline, Jonathan Mayo. And actually, I haven't seen Jonathan, Zach, since I was in the Under Armour All-American game back in 2011. So we get to reminisce on what a lanky Rye looked like, but also we can talk about some of his surprises and thoughts on the MLB draft that just concluded this past week. Gosh, what else we have going on? Well, I think we're going to have the pretty good, or should I say the Hall of Pretty Good Commissioner Bryce Whitlow is going to come back on and talk a little bit about what you can look forward to on some Throwback Thursdays when it comes to some of your favorite players from the past. And then we'll riff, we'll raft, and we'll talk a little bit of ball and talk about what else is going on in, I guess, the world of sports. And then we're back into action on Friday, as baseball will be back. But, Zach, it's a day of no sports actually today. Nothing's on the calendar whatsoever. And, yes, Bollinger, Zach Bolly's behind the sticks. Bolly, how are we doing?
I'm not doing great. Because like you said, I was actually going to bring this up before we even actually just talked about this. It is today one of the worst days on the calendar year for sports? Because I was trying to think. When you take it all into consideration, very early into the football season, you still have football on the weekends then, and like you're at your peak. And then when you're not having football, you have like high stakes MLB baseball. Then by the time, baseball is over with, you've had the playoffs. You have football pretty much every night. You have basketball has started. This is like the one day a year where there's nothing. I actually think there's only a singular WNBA game on. Because I was looking, even they only have like a singular game. So it's just like the one day a year. The only day that I can genuinely think is a worse sports day is the day after the Super Bowl. That's the only day that I can compare. Because even though there are other sports on, you're on that like down, like, you're coming down from the fact of like, oh crap, we don't have football for the next 7 months. So besides that, I really like this is one of the tougher days.
You know why they initially have this too is because with the ESPYs, when they do the ESPY awards, it's the time of the year where everybody is off for the most part, right? Not like every single thing, right? There are some games, but of the major sports that people tune into on the daily, it's not rocking. I would agree with you after the Super Bowl where it's finally kicks in that you're going to have to wait another 5-6 weeks until baseball starts. But at least like there's 2 to 3 weeks. I should take that back. March Madness is right there. So at least like the football season ends and you're like, all right, it's there. But a huge part of your Saturdays and Sundays, tell you who doesn't miss college and NFL Sundays, that's Jamie. She loves that I love sports, but I think that she's appreciated when we have some weekends to ourselves. And I've seen those memes out there too, Zach, of or videos of a guy handing his wife a letter, and it's saying, I've been a thoughtful and loving husband for the last 5 months, but now is my time. I'm going to be busy.
Yeah, football's
calling.
I think that's what
MLB playoffs are calling. Yeah,
and I think that's what makes it tougher right now for like these next 2 days. It's you're at the point where football, like training camp. I think rookies for the Ravens showed up yesterday, so it's like it's almost there, but there's not enough to talk about. There's not enough to like anything to watch. NBA is like they have the summer league, but right now like this is their lowest point. It's not like the draft is coming up. It's not. Baseball, obviously, it's their one break. It really does. Hockey's done. Hockey's in the off season. These next 2 days, it's like the dog days of being a sports fan. The 2 days a year that we have to pay for every other day, we get just nonstop sports action whenever you want. It's the 2 days a year that we have to pay.
I hope that everyone can get by it. Maybe we can help you guys in that entertainment process here because we still are running our shows. We'll have a show tomorrow, but we will have a different start time just because, again, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. There's some things going on, but we will have you covered. But we got a lot to talk about right now because with the MLB All Star Game ending, we can certainly circle back on one of the biggest events that did happen in the baseball world was the MLB Draft. It just happened right corresponding with this whole scenario. So we haven't had a full time to digest this. So our next guest, if he's ready, just give me a thumbs up, Jonathan. When you're ready to rock and roll, boom, double thumbs up. Well, we got to take a circle back here, and maybe we'll reminisce from the past because I haven't seen Jonathan in probably, maybe 14 years. But you see him on MLB.com, MLB Pipeline. Let's bring on Jonathan Mayo. Jonathan, you there?
I'm there. I'm here.
We're back. So
yes.
Has it been 14 years?
I was trying to remember, and the older you get, the worse your memory gets. So I honestly don't totally remember it exactly, but I do think I remember a high school All-American game that you were a part of. Was it on the Cape back then?
No, it was at Wrigley. It was at Wrigley in 20.
Okay, so it was at Wrigley. And then I was like, if you had told me I saw you at a minor league all-star game, I'd believe that, but the timing didn't work because I don't think I was doing those. Anyway, so I'm going to stick with that high school All-American game at Wrigley Field. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you see, maybe this will jog your memory there. You want to see some blasts from the past here. And so our some of my audience can see what a young Ryan looked like. This was the card from the All-Star or from the All-American game.
Look at that.
Hot damn. Look at the hair, Jonathan.
I'm jealous of the hair you have now, so I don't think I'm the right person to enter into this conversation.
Have you seen my family? Do you understand what I'm working against here?
Oh, I tell my son all the time that he has no shot, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and then here's one more, just being very lanky down memory lane. See, that's the real action shots that people want to see. I'm okay with looking goofy, and I was just coming off mono then, Jonathan. So I didn't realize I had lost 30 pounds, and I was already lanky as it was. But man,
right.
I gotta say, I wish they got a better action shot of me in that one.
But, fantastic. Yep, that definitely was it. I was there.
Perfect. See, we can clarify that you were there for that. But you know what? It's great to see you. I appreciate you taking time. I know you're busy. It's safe to say that this draft experience really has you moving in a lot of different directions. Have you been able to kind of take a step, reassess here over the last 24, 48 hours?
I've slept, so that was good. But it's a lot. We have the futures game first and then the draft right after. And for those of us in the prospect world, it's a lot at one time. But it was great. And I was happy there wasn't a day 3. Day 3 is not as heavy a lift on my end, but just to extend it an extra day, I'm glad they consolidated to do rounds 4 through 20. I wasn't saying that at the time when we were in round 17 and we're still sitting there, but yeah, no, it was great. I don't know that I have a full sense of who went where and who has the best drafts and all that kind of stuff, but that'll come.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the draft, which people don't like to hear this, it's truly not going to be well documented until 2-3 years down the road, right? That's just always how it works. But you mentioned the futures game, and since you're working double, triple overtime, essentially back to back to back, talk to us a little bit about the futures game, some things that stood out to you, and then maybe circling back on, I know a lot of people in Maryland love Enrique Bradfield Jr. is one of those guys. So maybe just talk about what you saw from some of the game's next hopeful stars down there in Atlanta.
Sure. I like Enrique also. He didn't do much in the futures game, but it's a 7-inning exhibition. I think he had 1 at bat. And I think he's healthy, but I think he's still literally getting his legs under him. Anytime a speed guy has a hamstring issue, it's going to be a while before he's running full tilt, but it's not like there was any real opportunities. He did have, I think he grounded out and had a really, really good sprint speed to first base. So it looked like him, but actually I think he grounded into a double play, which probably should be news because that doesn't happen very often. But the guys that really stood out to me, I mean, Josue DePaula is the one who homered, and just not only did he homer, but his approach, because we had him on the broadcast, and he saw 2 straight sliders from Noah Schultz and knew a third one was coming. And Noah hung the third one, and DePaul just absolutely crushed it. So that was fun. JJ Weatherholt had a couple of really good at bats, including an absolutely tattooed double the other way, which was crushed. And Jonah Tong of the Mets was really fun. Little Tim Lincecum-ish. He's got a crazy delivery. People should go and look. There's a photo of him when he's finishing his delivery, and his legs are almost in a vertical line like this. His plant leg comes up, and it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of crazy. But he was really, really good. And then, there were the proverbial guys who threw hard, and no one hit triple digits, but there was a good amount of 99s in there. And for me, it's like, it almost doesn't matter what they do because it's just one game. I really wish it would be 9 innings and not 7, but it's seeing all those players on the field at one time. Batting practice is just a ton of fun for that reason. That's as exciting to me as what shows up in the box score eventually.
Yeah, I mean, let's just face it. One exhibition game,
right.
One at bat is not going to give you any sample size of what a player is going to be, because they could have their worst day also. But it's not a fair assessment. But to have that amount of talent in one space, that's the fun part, to be able to be around, get to see them more on a personal level. And then, the BPs that some of those guys can put on, it can be on full display. I mean, we see the home run derby. It's down in the minor leagues. These guys
there should be a futures game home run derby. And we do like an unofficial where we draft guys and watch them in BP, but it was fun watching because, the coaching staffs of both futures games are these famers, stars, things like that. Yeah. And watching Chipper Jones kind of ooh and ah at some of the kids that he really loved. Jesus Made of the Brewers, because he's a switch hitter. And of course, Chipper loves switch hitters, but Made's 17, and just, it was really, and he wasn't cranking balls over the fence, but it was just the way he went about it. Connor Griffin of the Pirates, who is just a monster of a young man. He's only 19 and absolutely put on a show. And at one point I looked over at Mark DeRosa, who I know from MLB Network stuff, but he was on the coaching staff, just kind of looked over at me and kind of gave me a wow. It was real. He is every bit 6'4", and it just controlled violence, I think, is the best way someone put it. It's, he does not get cheated, but it's not like he's swinging out of his shoes. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, there is some serious power.
Yes.
And one thing I try to remind people, Jonathan, whether these guys turn out to be studs in the big leagues, whether they make it to the big leagues, which you hope of being in this game that they will get an opportunity, but we don't know what they can be, but it's not because of a lack of talent. The talent is on display. Yes. I've seen some of the most talented players not get to the big leagues because they couldn't put all of their skills together to maximize. And then I've seen other guys that were good, but they maximized how to be the best version that they could be. One example of Toolsy, just because he was in the home run derby, I remember playing against O'Neal Cruz. And when people were initially saying, well, he's not an all-star, he's hitting 200. Talk about physical skills. I remember playing first base in AA. It's not fun when he's a lefty and he's smoking a ball 115 right at you. It's not a good experience.
It doesn't sound like it. There's a reason why you're behind a mic now.
Oh God. Exactly. Right. And, but those are moments, right, that you can understand, and to put that all into the context. These guys are extremely talented, but how they make adjustments. You're talking about third slider, making adjustments, tendencies, cadences from pitchers and hitters. All of that mental game is going to help them get to the next level. But since you did just mention pitching a minute ago, Jonathan, I gotta know, or at least maybe from your perspective. The MLB draft just happened, and in Baltimore, the one thing that they always talk about that the Orioles need is pitching. You might have heard that, or you might
A time or two. Yes, I've heard it mentioned.
right? But it doesn't seem to just be Baltimore in the sense that teams are not really gung-ho on taking pitchers really early. This year's draft, if I had it correct, the first 40 picks, only 10 were pitchers. Can you maybe speak on that, or your perspective of why there's a hesitancy from all these major league clubs to maybe not want to go after a pitcher early? Or is it this the case that the pitcher's value was just less for this year's draft?
It's probably a little bit of both of those things, where it was not a particularly deep pitching class. There were some of those college lefties that went early. There were very few high school pitchers even worth considering in that at the very top of the draft. And then there's the risk. High school right-handers are considered to be the riskiest demographic in the entire draft. And, high school lefties are thought of more favorably, but there really were almost none. Cruz Schoolcraft went in the first round, and he was the only high school lefty worth considering up, anywhere in that top 30 pick range. And then, so the college arms are less risky, but there's still more risk there than, say, a hitter. That's why I think college hitters are always the first order of business, but this was a really poor college hitting class. And then I know some, scouting directors who love high school hitters. If the guys know how to hit, then you can work with them, and the power can come later and things like that. I think there's just more certainty. And when push comes to shove, you want a guy who plays every day. You want a guy who goes every fifth day. Now there are outliers, right? Paul Skeens, and he's in a different stratosphere altogether, but that's why he goes 1-1. This year's draft had some really good, some good college arms, those lefties that I talked about, and they went when we more or less thought they would. There weren't that many college right-handers. So I think, it is a combination of people are afraid of the risk, and this class just wasn't super deep. And that's probably both of those figured into why you didn't see that many pitchers go early.
Yeah, and to be clear on this, I talk about the top 40 picks because then you saw in kind of rounds 2 and 3, at least in Baltimore, Giroux out of Michigan State went, Quinn went, where those are both in that comp second, third round selection. So you're still using big draft capital, but we've always heard about taking the best player available and the best option. That's always this conversation, regardless of what you think that is. But it's no longer a matter of if pitchers get hurt, Jonathan, right? It's when. It's no longer that these guys are going to have this endurance level. The best of the best seem to break down at some point in time. So
it does seem more often that is the rule and not the exception, right? So if you go, I guess you could play devil's advocate and say, well, if that's going to be the case, then might as well get your pitchers, right? They're all going to break down regardless of when you take them, or trying to mitigate risk. And, the Orioles had so many picks that they could kind of do what they wanted with them, in terms of when they decided to go after pitching. They could have gone after some higher end high school arms had they wanted to, or had ones they liked been there. Because they really, especially with the trade they made late, they had the largest bonus pool of any of the 30 teams. So they could have taken anybody who was available when they wanted to. Now, it may have been that, there just weren't, too many high school arms that interested them. They got a couple late, who are not highly ranked, but they might like them a lot. And, Slater DeBrun's going to cost them some extra money. And that's a fun one we can dig into a little bit if you want to, but, they may have just decided with each time they picked that they didn't, feel it necessary until they went into that college pitching crop, that they dipped into, with those picks that you mentioned, sort of in the comp rounds and then second round, and then a little bit later on with a guy like Caden Hunter.
Yeah. And the big part that you just mentioned about the extra move and the bonus pool, It's a fascinating conversation. And I think, Zach, that's kind of where, because we can probably talk about Slater here in a second, but it's this concept of best available. And if you have the assets to do it, why wouldn't you do it? Right, Zach? I think that's kind of what you wanted to talk about.
Jonathan, thanks for joining. I feel like, especially with the Orioles taking 2 catchers, although Ike Irish has played in the outfield as well a little bit, 2 catchers with their first 2 picks, people immediately are like, whoa, does this mean Adley or Basayo? They don't have faith in them or whatever. Can you kind of talk about just teams' approach to taking, obviously some of these guys aren't going to impact the team for the, immediate future. So kind of teams going for the best player available rather than really sticking to, okay, we need this position, this position, this position, when you have so many darts that you're kind of throwing at the board.
It's very rare for a team to draft for need, especially early on. It may be a little bit later on in a draft, a team may say, whoa, we really don't have a lot of center field talents, or we don't have a lot of whatever it is. And then maybe they'll try to sort of fill in some blanks that way. Up top, with the bonus pool system, it's not as simple as take the best player available, because you may try to manipulate things. And, there was another team that was trying to get Slater to run down to them in the second round, and the Orioles said, we're taking him because we can. And we'll figure out the bonus and things like that, because they have that flexibility. So they had the financial wherewithal to take who was the best player available when they did at 37, and DeBrun was still sitting there when they probably thought there was no chance of that happening. So it's a little weird, because you don't always take the best player. You think, because you're manipulating the pool, and especially when you have as many picks as the Orioles have. And with a guy like Bodine, the second catcher they took, and he's probably the best actual catch. I don't think Irish is going to catch. Maybe you can send him out, but I'd put him out in the corner outfield spot and let him go. Bodine's was probably the best all around catching prospect in the draft class. And maybe the Orioles had interest in him and like, oh, but we didn't think he'd be there. He's not going to make it to one of our later picks when we thought we were going to take him. The same thing probably happened with Aloy with the very next pick. You worry about who's in your big league roster later on. If you have a lot of catching, that's a good thing, because no one ever has enough catching. You can always trade a guy. You don't know what's going to happen with Adley. I get the sense that they just don't think that Basayo can catch in the big leagues, because otherwise wouldn't he have been in the big leagues by now, given all the injuries? So I don't know the answer to that question, but Basayo's going to hit. So you figure out that, put him at first base and let him hit. And then you worry about those personnel decisions a little bit later on. You don't know how Irish or Bodine are going to develop. And like I said, you don't say let's say they're both quick, although catching, you can slow down. But let's say 2-3 years from now, you don't know what's going to be going on with Adley Rutschman at that point in time. And you may need a catcher, or you may be ready to trade one of them because you have a backlog in the minor leagues. And that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I think if you've seen the merry-go-round of injuries, the Orioles could use some catching, some good health, by the way. And to your point, that is the most, what's the exact word? I think it's the most grueling position. Obviously, in baseball, it is, because of the position that you're constantly in. You're squatting down for how many X amount of pitches per game. Then you're getting beaten up. Then you're being asked to be an offensive threat. But the catching part is the first and foremost, the most important thing. Offense is a bonus. Now, you said about the fun part that Slater's fun. Let's talk about how fun Slater is right here. Besides that he can produce music, why don't we talk about the baseball player here? Because it sounds like you're pretty high on this kid, and that the Orioles really got an intriguing prospect.
I mean, do you like Corbin Carroll?
I do. I'm a big fan.
So, I mean, and I don't like comps in general, but this one makes a lot of sense. Undersized left-handed hitter from the Pacific Northwest, who is more physical now than Corbin Carroll was coming out of high school. He's already he's jacked. I got a chance to talk to him at the combine this year. Really fun personality, high energy player. You mentioned the music piece of it, which is hilarious. He puts himself out there, and I like it. and I think he's going to hit. He's a plus runner. He can play center field. It's kind of everything you want. Is it the biggest what they look like kind of package? He's not, but I think the teams that are willing to sort of move away from that are getting some very, very good players. We joked for a long time that the Diamondbacks had to draft him because they drafted Carroll. They drafted Slade Caldwell a year ago, and he's having a very good year in the minor leagues. He's this undersized left-handed hitter, but he's got some pop. Like, he's got a chance to be a very, very good player. And the only reason, I think one scout told me that if he were 3-4 inches taller, he would have gone in the top half of the first round.
Wow. So high praise. And so I guess height does have its advantages, Zach, is what we're hearing here, but doesn't mean, this is the beauty of baseball,
not the be all end all.
Yeah, it's not. You go out there and you can swing it and you can play defense and you can run. The emphasis on the running, I certainly couldn't do. I could hit from time to time and I couldn't get out of my head all the time. But if you could find a way, right, Jonathan, when you look at the intangibles, high character, high energy, high motor, and very talented, looks like a no-brainer for Baltimore. And for a lot of teams, like we said to start this off, we don't know what is going to happen with these players. But it sounds like, just like a lot of teams, there's a lot of optimism with who they did select. And in 2 to 3 years, we can circle back and talk about it. Well, Jonathan, before I let you go, I got to ask, this is kind of like because you've been covering this for so long. I didn't mean to date you, but 14 years, we know that you've been at least been doing it.
Old.
Okay. I joked with you. I mean, 17 for me, I was 17 at that time. I'm 31 now,
Right.
Time's flying. How many years in this whole industry have you been involved?
I've been working for Major League Baseball's website since April of 1999. So I hit 26 years. Don't look at what you need a sundial. I think it's been a long, long road. And I worked in sports journalism before that for a little bit, but yeah, I've been doing stuff for MLB for more than a quarter century.
So since you've been around and you've experienced a lot, just you're full of knowledge and great memories, and some maybe that weren't the best, but were memorable to say the least. I've had then whether it's been guys that have got to the big leagues, for older players that can give me minor league stories. And there's some doozy of minor league stories. Darren O'Day just came on recently and told the story of his bus driver didn't assess how high the underpass was and ripped the top of the bus off, right? Like a can of tuna.
Convertible.
Yeah, like a convertible. That's the new trend here, is what I'm hearing. They're bringing them back. Do you have a story of all the years of covering that maybe sticks out to you, good, bad, ugly, or something that through all the time that you've held on to?
Man, institutional memory is tough. The longer you do this, I'm going to bring up a story just because I was retelling it. Well, I got two. Do I have time for two?
You have as much time as you'd like.
Oh boy. So it's only because I've talked to both of these people about this recently. So one was the Florida State League All Star Game in, I guess it must have been 2007. And that was a ridiculous, Cameron Maben, Andrew McCutcheon, because that was the 2005 draft class. Florida State League was high A at the time. So I think I'm doing the math right. They had a skills competition, and one of the, which no one would ever allow now. They don't want anyone to get hurt. And one of the skills was running home to third. To this day, I've never seen anyone do that faster than Cameron Maben, who was in the skills competition. And he was like he was for most of his career, just he didn't know how to, his technique was terrible. And he joked, I just saw him in Asheville a couple months ago, and he's like, that's how I ran my entire career. But it was unbelievable. So that was just a pure skill standpoint. Then a sort of off the field fun story was in 2005, ahead of the Futures game. We would back then we would bring Futures game players and we would go do a community service project. And I have some very good friends who I met at that very Futures game. They run this nonprofit called Magical Builders, where they rehabilitate like children's facilities, a lot of boys and girls clubs. And each year they do something in the All Star Game City. So this is actually, it was 2006 here in Pittsburgh, the Futures Game, and we went to Boys and Girls Club, and Gio Gonzalez, the left-hander, was in the Futures Game, and he's just, I don't know if you've ever met Gio, but he's like, even the end of his career, he's just a kid at heart. So he's having a great time, and they're painting a wall, and the kids from the Boys and Girls Club are there, and he lifts up the kid to like help him paint the top of the wall, and then puts the kid down right into the paint bucket, not the bucket, but the pan. So, it was hilarious, and the kid thought it was fantastic, and Gio was beside himself because this is a kid, a Boys and Girls Club kid who's just had his sneakers destroyed. So Gio would never want this story to be told publicly, but I'm going to do it now. Gio, sort of without anyone looking, went to my friend Christy Frank. She and her husband run Magical Builders, and handed her some cash and said, please go buy this kid a new pair of sneakers. And she was like, she didn't want to take the money, and he insisted. And so she went and got the kid a new pair of sneakers. So that, and I wouldn't have even thought of that in a million years, except I just saw Christy and John Frank, the Magical Builders founders, at the All Star Game this year, and we were reliving that story together.
That is amazing. One, it's hilarious how it happened, and
yes.
Two, what I always love and why I ask these stories is to give perspective, because you know this around, there's a certain perception of professional players, ones that make it into the minors, ones that go off to be in the big leagues and have these illustrious careers and everything in between. But it's those little moments that people don't get to see. And not only was that an awesome experience for the ones involved, shows you the character of some of the players. Like Absolutely. That's the thing I think that people don't understand who those guys really are. And so that was one of my favorite ones I've heard. So I appreciate you sharing. And if Gio ever sees this or hears this, you know, all the things that I've heard from my teammates or people that knew him, that's right on par for who he was, you know? So that's a great way to do it. I mean, hey, if you got more of those stories, we might have to have you back on to go down memory lane. If you need help, you know, going through those 25, 26 years, I'm here to help you if you want.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll do that trip another time. You know how to find me. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, perfect. Well, I know where to find you, but where can everyone find your work and what you have moving forward?
Yeah, MLB Pipeline is probably the best place to look. If you just go to MLB.com/pipeline, that's where all the prospect stuff is. At Jonathan Mayo on Twitter, such as Twitter is these days, but I'm on there still. That's probably the best thing. I think the only thing I would plug, and it's only been one episode so far, but hopefully going to be more, is we did a pilot called Grassroots, ROUTES. We're going to minor league towns and sort of exploring how minor league baseball teams are woven into the fabric of communities in these smaller cities. We did the pilot in Portland, Maine. It went so well, we're hoping to shoot 4 more. And it's an offshoot of a book project that my wife and I are working on smaller cities and communities and gathering places and things like that.
Okay, well, now we've set up the teaser for the next time you come on.
The next 3 or 4 times. So
there you go. And also, my fiance is from Portland, Maine. So I want to impress her now. So you got to come on here so I can drop some facts.
Well, go watch the episode. Just Google Grassroots Portland, and you'll find it. It's 22 minutes of your life. You can't ask for a more efficient experience.
Beautiful. Well, I'm certainly going to do that. We're certainly going to have you back on, and I hope now you can get a little bit more rest, because it's definitely deserved for the last week that you've had, Jonathan. But I appreciate it. Great seeing you again, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, me too, Ryan. This was a lot of fun. Thanks a lot for having me.
Jonathan Mayo, everybody. And again, you can find his work on MLB.com, MLB Pipeline. And that Grassroots, that fires me up. And I thought it was a perfect guy to have today. One, talking about the draft, but the stories within. Mm-hmm. And even for me, going back to the memory lane, when we were texting, talking about that, it brought me back 14 years being at Wrigley Field at the Under Armour All-American game, and those little instances that you have. I should have brought up on air, but Jonathan heard this story already. Byron Buxton and Matt Olson were in that game too.
Mm-hmm.
Byron threw me out at first on a ball coming in. I didn't think he was going to catch, and he scooped it and then hummed one to try to double me off. They called me safe, but the replay showed your boy might have not beaten the throw there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotta have that awareness.
Got it. Yeah. Well, it's the last time I ever underestimated Byron Buxton's athletic ability. And that's why if he can stay healthy, man, he is so damn good. But if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on X, YouTube, and Facebook. And that was great. You got the answer about the best available, and learn more about Slater. Dude seems like an absolute baller. How about that? I saw you kind of move a little bit when he said Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as he said, you don't like comps because it puts so much pressure. Like, kid's always going to be a little bit different, and you don't want to put that pressure immediately. But I think there's a lot to like. I genuinely do, especially like you said, he or Jonathan talked about, he's an athletic kid. He's got a little pop for his size. And I think the biggest thing is he's someone that other teams coveted. And I love the fact of like, oh, if he was 2-3 inches taller, he's, a top prospect. He's 18. Like this kid, he could grow 2-3 inches over the next few years. I just think it's great value by the Orioles. I think it was one of those things you do 10 times out of 10. If a guy, and it's something that a lot of fans have asked Michael Ice to do. It's one of those things where if a guy is available, go get him. And I've seen some people worried about, okay, he's, a high schooler, he's not going to help you in the next 2-3 years. We don't know where the Orioles are going to be in 4 years. You never know. Hey, there's a backlog of outfielders. I don't know in 4 years. We could be sitting here talking about how we have no outfielders in 4 years. Things change. So I think I'm very happy, especially after talking to Jonathan. Felt a lot better about, not better, because I thought the Orioles had a good draft. And as I've said before, I think we won't know for the next 3-4 years how the draft actually was. But it was nice hearing him kind of talk about, hey, like this pick, this is why you're doing this. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily doing this or that. And kind of just him navigating through it all was really cool to listen to.
Oh, it's great. And also that Gio Gonzalez story, by the way, was
putting the kid in the paint. Ugh.
And then, hey, sorry for ruining your sneakers. Here, let me get you a new pair.
He started in Oakland? Because he started in Oakland before he came over
to the Nats.
Yeah, the Nats.
Fun fact, I got a hit off of Gio on a rehab assignment when he was, I think, with the Brew Crew.
Left on left?
Left on left.
Love it.
Yeah. Hit just a sharp line drive through the 6-hole between shortstop and third. Didn't really see the ball too well, but it was a hit nonetheless. So, a whammy. It's all good. We're feeling good, Zach. We're feeling good. And you know what? I hope you guys are feeling good. Because it's Wednesday, we're getting closer to getting over that hump and moving into the back end of the weekend, Thursday, Friday. So if you guys, though, are enjoying it or just happy to be here, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. And I see the people on Facebook hitting the likes. Appreciate you. I see the people on X. Thank you. And obviously our great community on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. We dropped Rip After Dark, by the way, episode 3 last night. Rocco and I, it's just where we just shoot the shit. We just hop on and just talk, hang out. There were some studio pup appearances. And, we just try to keep it light. That's for our channel members. So if you want to be a channel member, click that join button. And, yeah, we try to have those intimate moments, talk about what you guys want to talk about on those day-to-day or night-to-nights.
What time did you guys get off that?
Rocco had to make an airport run. So he was off at 10:48.
Oh, so I was going to say, were we live at the same time?
Absolutely not. When I saw you say that, I'm like, that.
I had absolutely no intention of going live after the All Star game because I was like, the only way I told myself I would do it was if Ryan O'Hearn hit a home run and won MVP or something. I was like, okay, then I'd have to react. But just the ending, the comeback, the incredible game atmosphere that was the ending of that All-Star game, I was like, we got to talk about it. So, yeah, I went live for I said 15 minutes. That turned into 40, but that happens a lot. So,
yeah, it gets the best of us.
Yeah.
And we still got to talk about the MLB All Star Game here. So don't worry. We're going to get into all that and a heck of a lot more. We still have Bryce Whitlow expected to join us here.
Did you send him the link?
I did send him the link.
Okay. I was like, sometimes
I'm just asking him what time.
Sometimes we've forgotten to send some links.
Yeah. Well, also a good time if you're in the Maryland community, because every year, by the way, for my home fantasy football league and for our Holy Shirts and Pants members, we will do an HSMP league. That is for sure. I can guarantee that. Doing the 1,000 leagues, I can't guarantee that. But a Holy Shirts and Pants fantasy football league, we will do. But where I'm going with this is every year, my group, it seems to be, we say we're going to vote on something else, Zach. It doesn't happen. But to decide our draft order, we each select a golfer in the British Open. So the Open is coming up this weekend, tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I was the 11th selection of the golfer. So I chose Xander. I know he's had success, and I know winning, it's hard to have that, and I know he's struggled. But also I'm picking late. I'm like, screw it. And you know what? I don't really care where I draft. You know, I believe, just like with the Orioles, best player available. I'll make it work. I'll make it happen.
Wait. So, like, I'm assuming, like, Scheffler, McIlroy were, like, top two. Like, it was.
Oh, yeah, they were the first
I was
two
wondering
gone.
if there was,
I didn't take Xander, like, with those guys on the board.
Okay, I was wondering if you guys did, like, they have to be plus a certain amount to try to, quote-unquote, even it out. Like, you have to take a guy plus 1,000 or better to win it, and then you kind of like that. I was wondering if that, because when you said, I was like, oh, it's like, so we're really all right.
No, so like in this case though, we each have a golfer, and however they finish determines, you know, the place. So if Xander finished the best out of our 12 golfers selected, I would have the first choice in the draft, 1 through 12. So I could take the first pick. I won it the year before, so I took the number 1 overall pick. Took McCaffrey. Still got to the championship game despite it, right? And I ended up like, you know, in this case, right, that first choice could take the 11th pick. The second choice could take the 5th pick. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
like you have the option to do what you want. So that's fun. But why, like, we're talking about golf, I missed this the last time it came to Baltimore in 2021 because I was still playing. But the BMW Championship is coming right back here to Caves next month. Dude, that was one of the most electric golf events. And I got messages from all my friends and family members that went like, this was incredible. You know, you should be here. I'm like, well, I'm playing. You know, Norfolk Tides, you're trying to snap a 6-game losing skid here, okay? So we got to grind here. But this is the second time the BMW Championship is coming back. First since 2021. And that was a record-breaking, Zach, 6-hole playoff between DeChambeau and Cantley. How about that? Wow. 6 holes. 6 extra holes of golf here.
Free golf.
Free golf. But that is also part of the FedEx Cup standings. So we're going to see like who's going to be involved with that coming in. But I'll be honest, dude, I plan on going to this. I want to be there. And BMW, they also, if you guys want to go, tickets are on sale right now. Spectator tickets for the 2025 BMW Championship are available at bmwchampionship.com. And they have been pretty strong. I mean, there's a lot of people that love golf here. We know one person that's a friend of the show, friend of the program. Who's that? He plays for the Ravens.
Yeah, he golfs a lot.
Yeah, every day. Nick Moore.
Yep.
I bet Nick's going to go.
I would put, you know, I that is like minus 700 in the betting world. Nick Moore going to the BMW Championship. It's probably, it might be minus 1,000. Actually, no, at that point, he's got to have a day off because it's August 14th.
Don't worry. Nick will find
he'll
time.
find a way.
If
golf is being played, Nick Moore will find a way there.
Yeah, and you can have daily grounds, trophy club, or an all-inclusive hospitality ticket. There's different variations to go to it. And here's some fun facts I didn't know. Do you know how long this event's been going on for?
No.
1899. It debuted as the Western Open. $18.99. It's the third oldest PGA Tour event. Can you guess the only events that are older than this BMW Championship?
All right, that are tour events. All right.
And yes, I don't want to give it away with the answer, but think about
are we like
history.
Like Masters?
You can go that route, but it's not the Masters.
U.S. Open?
Yes, that's one.
I was going to say
that's one of them.
The other Open.
So U.S. Open and
I'm trying to think of.
You might be overthinking it now.
I think I am. Is it the Players?
No, what's the other one that we just been talking about?
BMW? Wait, no, the British Open?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm really.
And the U.S. Open. See, you did overthink it.
Oh,
right?
And I literally said in my head, I said, the other Open. And then
exactly.
I didn't. Sometimes it's like we were just talking about with Jonathan. Sometimes it's not the skill. It's getting out of your head. Sometimes you know what to do. It's just all between the ears.
Yeah, it's okay. You're a good kid. By the way, if we had Nate on, he would have qualified for this. They offer junior tickets. So for kids under 15 or younger, they have a chance to get complimentary grounds admission when they're accompanied by a ticketed adult. So how about that? You want to bring a kid under 15? Kevin might qualify as that is, but we will talk more and more about the opportunities for the BMW Championship, but it's in our backyard. We plan to go. We plan to be there. It's at Caves Valley, right up the road. Check out bmwchampionship.com for more. I'll put that link down there for right now, Zach, and then we'll rock and roll. Hopefully I spelled that right.
Yep.
Did
BMW.
I spell it right?
Yep, BMW.
Did I spell championship right?
Yep. I'm actually the worst person to ask that.
Yeah.
My spelling, I'm one of those people who I have to double check everything because how sometimes words just don't look right, but they are. Like randomly, you'll like a word you've been like you use every day, you'll type every day. Just randomly, you'll look at it and you'll be like, that doesn't look right suddenly. I hate when that
every day.
Every day.
I used to be so damn good when we were in class and you'd have to have those spelling tests. I miss having the spelling tests now because I was so locked in. Now it's like, autocorrect pops up with like the little red and I'm like, what am I messing up?
Yeah.
I'm getting nervous. Why am I getting so anxious? This is how it's spelled, right?
Yep.
Wrong.
Demoralizing. When you spell something you should know.
Yeah, mouse talk here. I'm thinking more BMW, like championship. Even though I know how to spell championship, I am a champion of the LLL, my league from home, a 3-time champion. I've won the championship 3 times. All right, enough about me, though. Let's get to talking more about some baseball here. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, live right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Come join in on the action, but we do put this on the podcast platforms when our show ends. So just want to make those notes here. We will end with talking about the MLB All Star. Is this the best in years? So hang with us. But for right now, since we're talking about the MLB and the history of the MLB, there's a lot of pretty damn good players, but there's also a pretty damn good commissioner of the Hall of Pretty Good. So without further ado, he's become a recurring guest for the program here on the Ryan Ripken Show. Let's bring on the commish of the Hall of Pretty Good, Mr. Bryce Whitlow. Bryce.
How's it going? Thanks for having me again.
Welcome back, my friend. Welcome back.
Appreciate
Nice
it.
New Hampshire hat, by the way.
Yeah, it's a bright, sunny day. I'm in Virginia right now, but figured I'd wear a hat. It's so sad out here,
Yeah, I mean, you had a busy week, by the way. You were calling it with our guy mic'd up, Mark Antonini up in Aberdeen last Friday. Then you went down to watch the Birds play on Saturday. Talk to us about the whole experience.
First off, just calling the game with Michael was awesome. I mean, he's one of the best ones I've seen do it, especially at that level. And we actually got to see a walk-off home run, which was insane. Super cool to see. And then going to Camden Yards, I think it's been over 10 years since I'd been to Camden Yards. So that was awesome. It's a beautiful park, still looks amazing. And so it was really just a good experience. Even though, the Orioles didn't fare too well, I had a bit of a bullpen blow-up in that game. Scott blew it, kind of blew it. No offense to him.
He did blow it.
I'm sure he's tired of that joke. But overall, it was a fun trip. Maryland's beautiful. Loved being there.
Damn right, Maryland is beautiful. And you got to see something pretty cool. There's a list of the Ryan Ripken Show hosts of going up there for something great. Zach, what was yours? The most runs?
It was BS. I went up there twice. I'm 2-0, and then Kevin goes up there and sees a no-hitter. I was like, oh no, yeah, calls a no-hitter. I was like, it's unbelievable. I digress. And then actually this past year I went up there. They had a perfect game through 6, and I was like, oh, I'm 1-upping Kevin. Blew a 3-run lead in the 9th. I was like, this is brutal. This is brutal. So, Bryce, I'm glad you got to see some more successful baseball than I've called this season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And Ryan, Michael said he wants you back in the booth if you have the time.
I know. I got to. I love it. I really do. It's fun. It's enjoyable. And Mike's an awesome guy, and he's great at what he does.
Damn.
It's really just about, for me, just getting the schedule working.
Definitely.
That's what it's all about. But I even told him, I'm like, hey, I might be able to actually stream that live of our faces while we're up there too. So while you're watching it, you could just tune into like a little Ryan Ripken show live while we're calling the game. You won't see the game, but you'll see our beautiful faces.
You'll see the most important stuff.
Thank you. This is why I like Bryce right here. Good kid. Hey, one of my highest compliments is telling someone they're a good kid, Bryce. So you are a good kid.
Thank you.
But there also, to transition here, there are some pretty good kids then that played baseball and played for a long time. And we know Darren O'Day got in. Just saw James Shields, which I actually was a little surprised he was lower on the vote than I anticipated, but he made it. He's in. But now there's something new that you are adding to the hall pretty good. And since it's Thursday coming up, and usually I like to look at that as Throwback Thursday, I think you have some throwback ideas that you want to share.
Yeah, so obviously I was born in 2001. I'm 23, so I only grew up watching, players from the 2010s play. But starting in August, we're going to start voting on players from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. We're going to do Throwback Thursdays on the first and last Thursday of each month. And that's just a way to, grow the hall and get some players in who deserve recognition that played 20, 30, or 40 years ago. I just felt like it was a good thing to do to, try and welcome all eras of baseball into it.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I think that that's the concept that people like, that people want to be nostalgic over some of the players that they grew up watching and being around. And I gotta think about this. Did you just have a picture of BJ Surhoff on one of your posts recently?
Yep. Him and Rick Monday are who I used to announce the Throwback Thursdays. I thought they were pretty good to just, have their faces out there to kind of advertise it. I think they fit perfectly.
Oh, no doubt. And the other reason with this is that, where was I going with this? Oh, BJ, we just heard a story about BJ Surhoff because Nick Markakis was talking about it. And I've known BJ for my entire life. So I love that we're getting some more recognition for these guys. And I'm expecting there's going to be some very fun moments. And who knows, maybe. So actually, does Melvin Mora fall into this category? Is he too new old school or too new school for that?
He's too new school, I guess you'd say. I have him considered for current day because I actually saw him play. The current list is kind of just comprised of people that I saw play. And so that's just kind of how I did it because like I've said before, I didn't expect this to kind of get to this level. I was just having fun with it. So I didn't really think too official with how I was doing it at the time.
Yeah, and then you just keep growing and growing here. It's pretty wild, man, that it's continued to balloon, and people love it. The guys are getting into it. There's former players then advocating for other former players.
Yeah, it's been awesome. When Jay Bruce was up for vote, I mean, we had Jonathan Lucroy, former All-Star catcher, and Zach Cozart, former All-Star shortstop for the Reds. They were all campaigning for him. It's been super awesome to see all the players kind of get invested into it.
Oh, dude, it's what it's about. Guys just want to be remembered in some case. Not that they want that recognition, because Lord knows, like when we talked to Markakis, Zach, I don't think Nick could give two shits if people fully like remembered all the great he did. But deep down, he appreciates that people appreciated his game. You know what I mean? Like he didn't play the game for other reason of I'm going to go out there and give my all for my guys, for my team, and for the city. And then I'll walk away and I don't need any recognition. But tell you what, it is cool. Like you saw Darren O'Day's face light up of, man, I didn't think that people would really think about me after this, and whammy.
We can never forget you, Darren.
Well, in Baltimore, a lot of people can. It's a good point.
You show up with that mustache, you can't be forgotten.
Yeah, dude, that is all time.
It's iconic.
That might be a hall. That's a hall of elite mustache. I don't.
There are very few who grace the mound, especially in that era. Early on, in the 80s, 70s, 80s, I felt like that was a different level of mustaches. Like back then, people just were graced with incredible mustaches. For his era, I'm putting Darren O'Day's stash against anyone.
So maybe that can be a good conversation because some other iconic ones like Raleigh Fingers had an iconic one, right? Trying to think of other just iconic facial hair. Brian Wilson, closer for Giants.
Yep, with the beard, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm going facial hair now. Like one, because the mustaches, there's only a handful that we're going to get. Is there any other ones that are jumping off the list here?
Why am I blanking on? Hold up. Who was the Bryce? I think he actually just posted on it. Who was the national second baseman? It was
Danny Espinosa.
Danny Espinosa. Incredible facial hair.
Yes.
Incredible facial hair. I kept wanting to say Ian Desmond, and I was like, no, that was the shortstop. I was like,
he was clean shaven most of his career, but yes, Espinosa had it going on.
I was going to say, I just saw, I think, Bryce post about him. I was like, that's incredible facial hair as well. I'm trying to think over the years. Yeah, we might have to make a top 10 like post 2000s mustache list because I feel like if we went all time, a lot of guys in the early, the 70s, 80s would pretty much dominate that list.
Didn't the pitcher Mike Fiers, didn't he have a mustache that kind of like wrapped around his chin at one point? I think he was in Oakland.
The one side.
Yeah. What was that?
That's where I'm trying to find a picture of it to give people.
I think he was in Oakland.
Yep. Let me pull this up so people can appreciate this.
Yeah, pull it up.
All right. Screen share. I mean, this is unbelievable.
We should have a vote one of these days of going through the books on some elite facial hair. Things that you will tell your kids to never grow in the future. Or like if you can pull it off. I can't pull that off.
Do you think he pulled it off? I mean,
I don't know if anyone can pull that off, but I think he got as close as humanly possible. Like, I don't think anyone can wear that and people are like, oh shit, that's a good ass style. I think it's at any point, it's like, what the hell? But I think he got as close as possible to pulling it off as you can. Like if there was like, he is toeing the line of maybe you're pulling this off, but I don't think anyone can actually pull that style off.
I'll give him that. I agree.
Yeah.
It's got to be weird to face. Like, it's going on. I would not know what to do.
And it's only crazy if it doesn't work. I shaved to have a mustache when I was hitting like $170 for 5 weeks. I actually went beard, goatee to mustache. And I went out in public with that stash, and it kind of looked like, sir, like, you're scaring kids. Like that's how I felt that I looked. Zach, I've shown you that photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you have.
It's not a good one of me. It's not. So, I mean, some people are saying, no one can pull that off. Well, yeah, it's not like it's recommended that look.
It's kind of like, like I was talking about the intimidation. Max Scherzer, the 2 different color eyeballs, and it just kind of like throws you off in the batter's box. I'd be looking out there and I'd be like, why did he do that? Like the whole at bat, I'm not thinking of the at bat. I'm like, why is he doing that with his facial hair? I think it gives you an edge. You think that guys aren't walking up there in the back of their head like, why the hell is his facial hair like that? I think it gives you an edge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm all on it now.
Hell yeah. Hell freaking yeah. Beast. Well, Bryce, any other thing we got going on with the Hall pretty good before we let you rock and roll?
Yeah, a couple things. I just want to shout out former All-Star Trevor Cahill. He just officially retired, and he let me break the news on social media to everyone. Former All-Star, 1,500 big league innings. Congratulations to him, and thank you to him for letting me be the one to, break the news. I thought that was really cool of him to do.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then also tomorrow, voting day, we are voting on former Tigers outfielder Austin Jackson as well. So that should be a fun one.
Oh, that takes me back.
Am
Austin Jackson is in 2K12 was my center fielder in every single franchise. If Austin Jackson, if I was making a franchise in 2K12, Austin Jackson was my center fielder. It did not matter who the team was, whatever. He was being acquired somehow to be my center. Okay, there's a yes from me. There's a yes.
I believe he led the league in triples back-to-back seasons, too, towards the beginning of his career. He was second in Rookie of the Year. I know that. I mean, pretty impressive. Over 1,000 hits, over 20 WAR. I mean, that's a pretty good career to me, honestly.
Damn, yeah.
3 straight years to start his big league career of 10 or more triples.
Yeah,
10, 11, 10.
Twice.
In that 1 year where he had 10 triples, he had the most homers he had in a season, 16, and 29 doubles. So, damn. He's flirting around with 55 extra base hits right there.
This is what I'm saying. 2012. Let me read this off to you. That's when he had the 29 doubles, 10 triples, 16 homers, batted 300. It's my center. It's my center fielder. I'm telling you right now.
That's Zach's center fielder right there. Well, I will also be casting a vote for yes. And I'm assuming a lot of other people will, but the threshold, 65%, have to be the ones that vote him in. And if you want to see all of that, Bryce, where can people find where you can vote, the page? The page is for everything that is Hall of Pretty Good related.
Yeah, so we vote on Instagram at 3 p.m. Eastern time at MLB Hall of Good is where you can find me. There'll be a poll right at 3 o'clock with this picture on it, and then that's where you can vote.
Just like that. When I move, you move, Zach.
Just like that.
Hey, before you go, Bryce, a song that you listened to growing up that wasn't made for kids, but you sang all the time as a kid.
21 Questions by 50 Cent.
That's a really good one right there.
Fantastic answer.
It's a really good one.
I was like, I was like, wow, you're just kind of putting him on the spot there. And Bryce was like that. He knew. It's impressive.
Well, I mean, there's so many of them.
That's why he's the commissioner.
That's why he's the commissioner. On his feet. Now I might have to sing the lyrics after. And it's actually, I'm looking it up. It definitely is not made for kids.
It's not the worst one out there, though. It could have been like Candy Shop or something like that.
Yeah.
But still, it's a good song.
I mean, they just are going to get candy. Who doesn't like getting chocolate and whatnot, right? That's what the song's all about.
You're right. Yep.
That's at least what went through my mind until I turned 10 and realized whatever. However, I'm older than you, so I'm trying to remember what year this came out. 21 Questions.
I want to say like 03.
03 is right. April 29th, 03.
This guy was ready.
So ready. So I was 10. So when I was 11, when I was 13, I became a teenager. Started to make sense.
You're like, hold up.
Goodness gracious. Bryce, that's phenomenal. Phenomenal, man. Well, if you're not busy next week, we got to have you back on. We got to continue to keep things going, people helping people. We might have a few tricks up our sleeve. And it's always a pleasure, my friend. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. And, I'll be ready next week. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Bryce Whitlow, the commish of the Hall. Pretty good. Of all the baseball knowledge that he's had and having breaking news by announcing players ending their careers, being that quick-witted on 21 Questions by 50 Cent might be the most impressive thing of today.
No, without a doubt, the most impressive. He was ready. And that I was thinking in my head, I was like, damn, if I was put on the spot, I'd be like, crap, what am I? The fact that he like that, just it's talent.
Boo. I put out that post on Instagram about the question.
Yeah.
So I've had some people text me about certain songs. There's a lot of songs that I've gotten from people. A lot of songs. So if you guys got a song that you heard for the first time and you thought it was an absolute banger as a kid, it probably is just a banger song, but definitely not made for the young kids.
No.
You know? There are some interesting choices. Here. But you know what's also interesting is each and every one of you guys tuning in. Once again, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. Do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Zach. Hi.
How's it going?
Good. I thought you were going to say something right there.
I was not. You just tossed it over here, so I was wondering if there was something coming next.
No.
Actually, while you were talking about your fantasy football, how you guys decide. So my college friends and I, we decide every year. I think it's like WWE 15 or something. Someone had it.
Oh.
And we each years ago, he made every player, each one of us, the 10 of us, was just, he created a wrestler. And it was like, all of them look ridiculous, none of them. And every year he will like stream it to Twitch, I think. And we, like a private video, and we all watch together, and how the order in which you are eliminated is reverse order for the draft. So if your guy could be the first one, and we have no clue, it's all set to random. So you're just watching, your guy walks out first, and you're like, I may be getting the 10th pick this year. And so it is very, you have some guys teaming up on others to eliminate, and you're like, you just have to sit there and watch your guy get thrown over the rope, knowing that means you're getting the 6th pick. So it takes about 15 minutes, but it is pure electricity.
That is I think Steve Johnson does similar one. He said with fantasy. That's the fun part about fantasy is just the experience that goes with it, and all of it is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All of it.
Every part.
Especially the things that are completely out of your control.
Mm-hmm. That's the fun part.
That's the fun part, and the most agonizing part. I was thinking about that last night with you for the fun part for betting on the All Star Game here. So that's a good time to take our quick trip up to Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Boom. I was nervous for you yesterday, Zach.
I know. That's
NL
tough.
down 6-0. You took the AL up. AL down 6-0. You took the American League to win it.
Yeah.
But can you explain? Obviously, we know what happened, but how does it work for you? Does the NL still get the victory?
Well, so that's the thing is, I'm assuming that it was paid out for people to get that NL won. Like, I'm assuming that's what it is. But this is definitely an interesting way to go about, because it did go to a swing off. I mean, it technically, if you go look at the score, it's 6-6, but NL won. So that's a tough. I did not think when I put AL, because they'd won 9 out of 10 years, did not think that we were going to a swing off. Also, Aaron Boone knew I put, that I took the AL. He probably would have gone differently than Aranda with his third choice for a home run derby and not a doubles derby.
Sounds like you're salty.
Yeah, I just feel like NL was trying to win. NL was trying to win. The AL was trying to have fun. And I felt like, with the way the AL came back 6-0, I would have been like, I would have pulled Judge off the plane. I would have been like, timeout. Someone go get Judge off that plane. We're winning this thing.
I wonder also if I wonder how many bets that did you have had that have gone wrong. I forgot to keep keeping tally, but I've been thinking in my mind of if we made a Fade Bali graphic and had a little bit of a theme music with it.
Yeah.
I wonder what that would look like, because you've had a lot. It's happening a lot now.
Yeah. I keep going on streaks. I'll win 3 straight, then I'll lose 4 straight, then I'll win 3 straight. So I got to get some consistency. If I was maybe just going every other day, I think it'd be less noticeable, but I'll get hot for like a week, and then I'll go like span. Then next week I'll get swept. then start the next week on an L. And that's like, by that point, no one's even thinking about the 2 wins that I get on Wednesday and Thursday because we don't talk about them. So it's like, damn, I'm just catching I was on a 4-game win streak before this.
Yeah.
You know,
and no one remembers that. They just remember the 10.
Yeah. And I literally thought that when AL was coming back, I was like, stay hot, kid. I was like, we're just winning any means necessary. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Sad day.
Yeah, people don't remember the wins. They always want to point out your losses.
Yeah,
and it's true here on this show. And we like to have fun, but in the future, because we don't have anything going today or tomorrow, maybe we'll have it for some future picks.
Yeah, maybe.
For the second half, for Cy Young, MVP, whatever, maybe making the playoffs. Maybe Zach can have a futures day, but no bets today, so we can't tail or fade Zach. But if you guys are trying to bet on whatever the heck's going on tonight, why don't you go on over to the ESPN Bet, official sports book of ESPN. And they got a new player bonus. You bet $10, you get 100 back in bonus bets, plus you get the 30 days free from ESPN Plus. Appreciate our friends up at Hollywood Casino. You can download the ESPN Bet app for all of that, but if there's a problem, realize you can have some help. Gambling problems specifically, call 1-800-GAMBLER or our friend Rocco DeSangro. And when I move, you move, Zach.
Just like that.
Just like that. Whammy. Well, since we did talk about the All-Star Game, or you mentioned about that Aaron Boone had it in for you, let's get into this discussion here, because the conversation, and this can be how it's the meat of our topics today. The MLB had their festivities just end. And the big conversation that we want to have is, did the MLB have a huge victory with the All-Star Game and its festivities? Because it feels like a lot of people loved it, but we've also seen a lot of criticism, whether it be some from the home run derby to the swing off itself and everything in between. So we're going to talk about that and different angles that are going to validate our point of why, hey, maybe we need to consider some things here for MLB moving forward. But if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do it live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. But Zach, I was a little bit surprised that people were really upset with the All-Star Game because I thought it was great. I thought that this was one of the best All-Star Games and experiences that we have had in decades. The fact that a team went from being down 6 and battled all the way back was great TV. The fact that the game started off with Paul Skeens on the mound doing his damn thing and looking like a star. You saw home runs. You saw really entertaining baseball and personalities from players. And then you got to witness history in baseball where they had the first ever swing off, which led to the National League walking it off technically and winning it, in which turned out to be a thriller. And I guess we can go to both sides here, Zach. Mm-hmm. And maybe we can start with the positives, because I think there was a ton of positives on this side of the game. Okay?
Yeah.
One of the positives that was absolutely incredible was just the absolute joy around the game. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think you got from players didn't knowing they were going to be a part of it, like Kyle Stowers not knowing he was going to be in the swing off. Mm-hmm. I thought that was one of the coolest videos and moments out there. And if you don't believe me, let's play that clip of Kyle Stowers saying, "Hey, dude, I thought it was a joke that I was being selected."
Find out that like this is even a thing.
Bottom of the 9th inning with no outs. They came up. One of the coaches came up and told me. He said, "Hey, this game ends in a tie. You're gonna go up for a home run derby." And I said, "You're kidding." He goes, "I'm not." And I go, "Yes, you are." And they left, and I thought it was a joke still. And Dave came up and reiterated it, and they weren't kidding.
They certainly weren't kidding.
That's for sure.
But I thought that moment was so genuine. And I know the other side, people were looking at, well, wait a minute, why aren't you having the best of the best involved in the situation, right? Why in the American League don't you have those top guys? These are all-stars, by the way. They were selected as all-stars of the game. And Zach, I thought that just brought into the human element for it. And Kyle Stowers was a guy that his face itself kind of described how I think a lot of players felt in this game. Like there was actually an excitement and a buzz around the sport, which you can't say in other professional sports all-star games.
No, and I mean, I think it was the perfect ending to a pretty perfect game. You know, obviously a few hiccups here and there, but this all-star game had everything. I think the ending to it kind of encapsulated it all because, you know, yes, you can look at, you know, we'll get into Schwarber, the 3 bombs, you know, Kyle Stowers, obviously Brent Rooker starting off being the first player ever in a swing off, which is kind of poetic after yesterday. But the biggest moment for me at the end was the reactions by the players on the side, because this wasn't, you could tell this wasn't all right, let's get out of here. Whoever wins, wins. We want to go home. These players were looking like they were kids watching professional athletes out there for the first time up close. I mean, Schwarber's hitting home runs and both sides are like falling, jumping up and down. Remember watching the first Rooker home run and the entire American League starts jumping up and down. I mean, there was this passion and care and just fun to these moments where I think that's what made it so great. Was it didn't feel like, okay, we're here to get in and get out. It felt like, hey, we're here and this is awesome. Like, you know, everything went perfect. And it really did feel like, you know, I see Karen talking about it. You know, you don't want to see players just going through the motions. And it felt like at the end, especially, it was anything but. These guys were competing. You know, they wanted to win this, but they also were just having fun. Like it was a reminder of that baseball at its core is supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be fun. And in a sport where it's an evolving time. And look, we're all nostalgic to the old games, right? And that's why I bring up that this is going to be one of the most memorable all-star games in recent memory, because when they look back to the history and those iconic moments, you're feeling like you're going back to the early 2000s, going into the 90s, right? That's like the last time frame where people look at and go, damn, like that was electric. That was baseball, right? I've seen a lot of Pedro Martinez when he pitched at Fenway Park, right? People bring up my dad's last All-Star game in 2001. That was an iconic moment. Talk about even the home run derby with Ken Griffey Jr. That's one of the biggest derby moments that people still to this day talk about. And maybe the big moment was Kyle Schwarber's the one that really stamped that approval, because you're talking about, oh, you didn't have big names. What Kyle Schwarber did was probably the coolest damn thing of the entire Summer Classic experience. Zach, roll those clips of those Schwarber bombs that made the difference for the NL. I mean, and these are that one.
That was the shortest one. That was funny enough, the least impressive, and it was still damn impressive. Then take one, you know. And then he decides, let's put this one into the sky.
And also the fact that this is 3 swings. 3 swings. That is so hard to do. But look at everyone is on their feet with it. The players. And I know it doesn't mean anything.
I think one of my favorite parts here is I think it's this pitch right here where Schwarber's like, damn, I should have swung at that. Because there's pressure. These guys want to win. And then this was an incredible moment.
See ya.
The bullpen catcher also makes this.
The electricity, you're right. Look at everyone jumping up and down. But let's go back to the bullpen catcher right here.
Tell me people aren't having fun.
Look at that. Everyone. Coach is smiling. Ebel's smiling. Schwarber's smiling. The bullpen the bullpen catcher is smiling. It was incredible in that sense. And also, you know why people love that swing off? If you're going to talk about the nostalgic, what did that remind you of from the old home run derbies?
It it reminded me of what made the home run derbies great, which was let's stare and let this thing breathe. Take your time. And when you hit it, let's watch and see how far this goes. Not, oh, what about next pitch, next pitch, next pitch, next pitch. It reminded me, like you said, of what made the home run derby, I feel like, so great, in the fact that you got to appreciate what was happening. It didn't feel rushed. It felt like, hey, 3 swings, you got to make the most of this. It's not just swing as many times as you can. It wasn't, hey, you get 10 pitches, swing it all 10 and hope you get out. It was, hey, you've got 3 swings, pick your pitch and don't miss it.
And it's the patience of baseball and how hard the game is what people appreciate. And that's why they love the old home run derby, was you had to be patient. You might not have success, but also that's what made the spectacle so incredible. Think back to those old home run derbies, because that's why the swing off, in my opinion, was so damn cool, is because the setup tugged at the cords of all baseball fans that remember the derby from the old days. And when you talk about the iconic moments, I was there in 2008, was the last year at the Yankees Stadium, old Yankee Stadium, and Josh Hamilton put on an absolute show. One of the most impressive things, and it was more impressive that he had to wait and take the pitches, and then he just unloaded into the New York skyline.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it really cool. And I thought, I got to give baseball a lot of credit, MLB, because that was what fans wanted to see. You wanted to be entertained? Well, that's a big part of it. We'll get into the other side of this in just a moment, of why people maybe weren't as happy because of some names that might have not been there. But let's stay with the positive here for one more second. The ABS system seemed to be a big success for some. Not that it was out there in the open so much, but even the last call with the Rosarina, Zach.
Mm-hmm. That was fun.
It was fun. Do you have that clip?
Yep,
Can we pull that up? Look at
inning.
that. Diaz thinks it's a strike. He calls the tap, which means the challenge.
Randy knows it too.
And talk about being dotted right here.
This was
dotted.
I love the point.
Man.
I love Randy's face here. Like, are you kidding me?
You're throwing almost 100, and that's where you're putting that thing.
That is as perfect a pitch as you genuinely could ever have. That was there's being on the black, and then there's that. ABS system was a massive success last night. And I think it was used probably 3 or 4 times, I believe. And I think the longest one was about 7 seconds. So it's not going to extend the game. I don't think you need it for every pitch. I've seen some people like, just automated umpires. I don't think that's the way to go. I think having this challenge system of you have X amount of challenges per game, because that becomes strategy of when to use it. Are you using it on the first pitch of the game where you're like, oh, that was a little outside, no. But I think in a big moment, if anything, I think this made this moment cooler. Had the umpire just gone strike 3 right there, everyone's like, oh, what a pitch, all this stuff. But it was almost like the appreciation. Like, you got the appreciation because it was called a ball, and then Diaz is like, wait, hold up a second. Let's run that back real fast. And you get the entire crowd reaction. Everyone's watching it live. It's not like we do with replay, where the umps go behind the scenes and are, talking to New York, and they go, okay, it's a strike. And they go, okay, it's a strike. This is in front of everyone, that moment. And then you have Diaz obviously pointing back. I doubt there would be that much laughter from Randy had it been a real meaningful game tie situation in the ninth. But for that, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
It really, I think that was the real big positive on the game. It didn't seem to slow it down much. It was a fun element, and that is what's coming to baseball. Whether you truly like that or not, that is what is on the way. But now let's look at what was starting to cause some of the controversy, or I shouldn't say controversy, but displeasure, Zach. Mm-hmm. And really, it's around of how things ended. They're the traditionalist. And again, I love baseball and the old school style that's played, but we know that that's changed. But there were a lot of people that weren't happy with the swing off, Zach, which kind of surprised me. And a lot of people then, if they weren't happy that the swing off happened, the other reason they didn't like it was that the stars, the big names, Ohtani, Judge, those types of guys weren't included in the swing off. And also, I want to point this out. You could say the different tiers, and I get that. These are actual all-stars in the game. So it's not like that they chose random guys off the streets. I know Aranda for you maybe didn't help with your betting situation.
I'm going to say this. That was the only pick that I was like, okay, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Stowers, I understand. Stowers just hit 3 home runs a few days ago. And people are acting like, no, like some of these guys, like it was 6 guys that were just, singles hitters. Aranda's an average guy. I get that. But we didn't see him because it didn't get to that point. Pete Alonso, Kyle Schwarber, think he did pretty well. Brent Rooker, wasn't everyone begging for him in a swing off the day prior? I don't know why if you have watched Randy Arozarena play baseball, I don't know why you questioned why he was in there. Yeah, he only hit 1, but that guy, talk about a guy who has some pop. Didn't question that at all. And okay, so 5 of the 6, I think were great home run derby participants. I know the big one is, why did they choose Aranda over Bobby Witt? I don't know. You could probably ask a million people. They won't tell you. What maybe Bobby was like, no, let someone else do it. We don't know. But I still think it was the star power in it wasn't an issue for me because we had it. Like, I felt as an AL fan, because for some reason that actually means something to me. I literally watched Pete Alonso in the 9th inning. They showed Pete Alonso in the cage warming up. I literally was like, oh, it's over. Like, there was that impeding, like, feeling of like, oh, here comes Pete. It's like a closer coming out. It was like, oh, if it gets to Pete, this is over. You know how he does in home run derby. So I loved it. I really did.
And for all those for this time frame in MLB that are saying that the stars aren't competing in the big moments if it's an all-star festivities, which include the game and the home run derby, because then the swing off became a home run derby. We just saw this clip from Aaron Judge. This was before the All-Star game, and asking, well, Aaron, if Ohtani had done the home run derby or you had been asked to do it, would you get out there? But I want you to listen to Aaron's response, because I think this also has proven my point of why Major League Baseball or the players deserve a little bit more credit for their involvement in these activities.
Like the slam dunk contest where, it was kind of made for Julius Erving, Michael Jordan, and they didn't end up doing it very long. You think you would do it if Ohtani did it? And what's the reason the top players don't do that? I mean, you do it in the WBC, you do everything for baseball, but the home run derby is something everybody seems to shy away from.
Well, I already did it. I don't know what else you want from me.
I already did the home run derby. I don't know what else you want from me. And as a fan, I understand when we see the first new thing out there that it would feel good to have your iconic names be a part of that moment. But also, baseball, unlike the slam dunk contest or some of the other skills competition, Aaron Judge has participated in a home run derby contest. Ohtani has participated in a home run derby contest. Cal Raleigh is an MVP candidate.
He leads the league in homers.
And he participated. Brent Rooker's hit 30-some jacks the last couple years, all-star. The only one that you could say, okay, O'Neal Cruz isn't an all-star, but he has ridiculous pop. Okay, I get it. I understand that one. But like everyone else, Jazz is maybe the only one where you go, okay, why Jazz? Okay, James Wood was a good choice. Dude rakes. Just didn't rake the way that he wanted to. It's fine. Right? Like that's how it works. And I know that people look back to the old home run derby days, and those teams would be loaded with the home run talent. And those were big names. And we're talking about almost Hall of Fame type players, it felt like, on a consistent basis. But this is still a really good unit of talent that's out there. So I don't want us to nitpick that in the first year we had this, that MLB missed the moment. No, they had a great moment. And I'm sure they're going to adjust it accordingly. And now people are going to wonder, Zach, is MLB going to move this to the regular season? I'm not going to jump onto that bandwagon.
They're not.
I'm not jumping on that.
I've seen that. No way. That's not that. That's a little bit of an extreme. I think that is people. I mean, it took a while for them just to get the runner on second, and then they still they were supposed to take that back actually, and then decide against it. But I just don't. There's no way, at least in the next 20 years, that maybe at when we're in 2050. I could see if they're trying to change the sport that much, but I don't think that's a step we take. I hope not.
That really changes the dynamic of having a guy that can just be a BP hitter.
Yeah,
like not actually winning the game.
Yeah, and Nick saying this, that would change rosters immensely. You would have to keep a guy. Like how many guys? We talk about this. How many guys? Shoot, I'm blanking on his first name. Gore, the pinch runner. It's gonna annoy me now that I don't played for the Royals. Terrence Gore. Terrence Gore.
Oh, yeah.
So you have these guys who get put on these postseason, rosters because of their speed. And, it's like that position, like, oh, you need a pinch runner at the end, in close games. It would probably be put, he would probably get replaced by, like you said, a guy who maybe isn't the best, player that would be on the roster, but hey, this guy hits tanks in BP.
It's a 5 o'clock hitter that you'd want. You want the best 5 o'clock hitter out there to go out there and hit some absolute bombs.
You're telling me the Orioles wouldn't elect for a Heston Kjerstad or a Kobe Mayo over maybe other guys because they're like, oh, if we get into a swing off, we need these guys who we know can hit tanks. Like I think it would change completely.
It would no doubt change the sport. And I don't think that's going to come in anytime soon. And if it gets to that point, that would be over the line for me. But for everyone out there that didn't like this style of play, I want to take a step back and look, if we are exploring the rest of the professional sports leagues and you're looking at the best product for an all-star game on the field or the court or the ice, baseball hands down is the most complete product, even with its faults. Why? You can't fake throwing 100 miles an hour. You can't fake hitting a ball out of the ballpark, and you have to give a certain energy level, and it's usually a high energy level. You can't give less than that to go out and accomplish those types of feats. And then you added a flavor that can get more of an audience entertained. I think it's a big win-win. Now, do they need to clean some things up? Sure. Not everything is going to be perfect. And we're going to nitpick some things that we don't like. We don't need maybe announcers interviewing the hitter before they do the swing off. Is that necessary? No, but if that's something that's a part of the game that leads to excitement, I'm good to put up with those small things to actually enjoy something when we consider having an all-star break. And that is what I think Major League Baseball accomplished with the All-Star Game, the swing off, and the entire experience.
And I'll take it one step further. The entire experience on the field, because I do conclude this in the All-Star Game, you add everything that happened on the field. You had the ABS system. You had dominant starters go out there and do their thing. You had some big bats, Pete Alonso, Brent Rooker, Corbin Carroll, hitting bombs in the game. Then you end it with that incredible comeback, all of that. But all that aside, you also throw in that Hank Aaron tribute was one of the coolest things that you have ever seen. And for all of this to encompass in one All-Star game, like that's why I'll put it up there with almost up against any other All-Star game. I think it's the best one we've seen in a long, long time. And I'll say it because you won't. If you aren't enjoying that because you nitpick little problems, like I don't know what to tell you. Like if you found yesterday wasn't a great All-Star game, you have problems with it, you got to enjoy stuff.
You might not like the future games then.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is look into the future now. Look in 10 years. Will people still be talking about this All-Star game? And I'm glad you mentioned the tribute to Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
Thought that was phenomenal. Phenomenal. With that moment, plus the product on the field, because let's just face it, if the product on the field isn't entertaining, no one seems to care as much about the other great things that happen. But in 10 years, people are still going to be talking about, you remember the first swing off and how good of a baseball game that actually turned out to be. The answer for me will be yes, and that's really the first All-Star game that people can talk about, in my mind, for the last 20 years to have that type of sensation. But let us know what you think in the comments, and when we post this video later, Ryan Ripken Show, we do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. One thing that wasn't good was Suarez getting drilled. I know we left that part out. And
Yeah.
This one whammy, by the way, because he is one of the biggest trade candidates out there.
Yeah.
This was the only true, damn, this sucked. And luckily though, Zach, you said X-rays negative.
Yeah. X-rays negative after the game. You had a feeling though, because he was out there during the swing off and stuff he was extremely hype and jumping up and down. So you felt like if something was seriously wrong, he probably would have.
Every other team in Major League Baseball is wondering, is this guy going to be okay? New York Yankee fans that are hoping that this guy gets traded there, is this guy going to be okay?
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw a tweet yesterday, which is so true. It was like Suarez is the first player to get hit in an all-star game and have 15-plus fan bases fall to their knees. Because it's true.
It's
Every
true.
fan base that wants to buy wants Eugenio Suarez on their team, who sneakily, I'll say it again, might make it very hard to not put him in the Hall of Fame, because he's at, I think he just hit, he's over 300 home runs. And I saw someone say he should just, because he's a free agent after this, just go to Colorado, rake for 7 years, get to 500, and then make him say no to you. Never know. He and Ethan Holiday. Who knows?
Just saying. Just saying. What we're also just saying is we love each and every one of you. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. We do. We love our community. And if you love what we're bringing to the table, hit that like and subscribe button. Really, it means a lot to us. We say it so much because we're trying to grow here. We're trying to continue to scale this thing up to bring you more content on the day. We're able to do 3 live shows. Our goal is to do 5. Our goal is to keep going to some of these events. And we had an opportunity to go on down this year to the All-Star Game. Just given the scheduling, hard to make that happen just for some other issues. But we've already been able to go to the winter meetings, plan to go back to the Super Bowl, and plan to have more of an experience for not just at sporting events, but around the community. That all starts with you guys and continuing to get the good word out there. And if you're a channel member, we appreciate you guys. You are the backbone to the YouTube channel for us. And if you guys want to be a channel member and join in on all of that, you can click the join button next to subscribe. All of it goes back to making this work and really helping Zach and I figure out how the hell to use the equipment, which we figured out today.
It out. We're back. We're
Boom.
back.
Hell yeah. And Thoroughbred Video, I'm subscribed. Hey, I'm loving it. And I'm loving the horses in the photo.
I do too.
You get it, Thoroughbred?
Yes.
You get it?
Yes.
You get me?
Yeah, like a thoroughbred. Yeah.
You hit that like button, baby. Boom! We have one more topic that we got to talk about now, Zach. I don't know if you just saw the news.
Oh,
about Fox Sports.
Yeah, that came out a little bit before we went on. That's
a big change.
Yeah.
You were wondering about who they would bring in. Was it going to be Kay Adams? Was it going to be, heard RG3's name was thrown out there in some rumor?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we understand who Fox is going after now for their coverage on FS1 after canceling 3 of their shows. It looks to be Dave Portnoy and some of the Barstool personalities are going to be a part of the new ramped up experience for Fox going into the postseason. Saying right now, Fox Sports is nearing a deal with Portnoy for a major on-air role around their big noon kickoff, Zach. And when we're thinking about how things have transformed in media, that is a massive, massive kind of development when we think about this, right?
It's
huge.
I mean,
It's huge.
This changes a lot. This is the direction Fox decided to head in. Let's be honest. We talked yesterday about the firings and kind of how that could shake things up, and maybe Fox was trying to get away from. Fox has always tried to be a little different, I guess. Fox Sports, with the way that they were kind of hot takes, stuff like that. This is definitely going away from that, or going away from traditional, media and stuff. It's going to. I think this is going to change the landscape of kind of Fox Sports as we know it, for sure.
I mean, this is changing also when you're looking at traditional media trying to make the next steps. So Pat McAfee going to ESPN is kind of what started this whole thing, right? Initially, because it was Pat on his own, which, by the way, where did Pat start with everything? Barstool, right? And Pat now is become, for better or for worse, how everyone views him, but he's very polarizing, and he has brought a huge following to ESPN for the work that he does. And specifically, ESPN College Game Day, again, polarizing, but for the most case, there's more positive feedback than negative. And now Fox is going, well, how do we kind of rival that? Well, how do you rival that? You bring in another guy that has been very outspoken and that has been at the forefront of that untraditional media for years. And here's the post here by Front Office Sports, that they're nearing an expansive deal with Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy for having him be included on Big Noon. So think about that. Big Noon. The two biggest moments for ESPN Saturday mornings, it's College Game Day, and now Fox with Big Noon is trying to fight back with it. I'm really curious how it's all going to unfold, but I think this goes back to what we've continued to talk about, Zach, is media's changing. Heck, I hope that with the media changing, it's going to lead to us having some more opportunities to do some really fun things. And not that I think that we're like the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I think that we have some things to offer. But these guys, damn, they got the followings. They got people that are clearly their product has worked. Clearly it's got in numbers. And at the end of the day, you have the viewership and you have the following. You can make a whole lot of opportunities happen.
Yeah.
So to speak.
And I think that's what's cool about the way the media is going. It is a very different way than it was 10 years ago. And I saw people talk about this yesterday when we talked about Fox. 10, 15 years ago, it was either you were on ESPN or you weren't. That's what it was. It was either you were the guy on ESPN, you were the analyst on that, or you weren't. And that was kind of it. Like, that was the end all be all. But now there's so many different platforms you can be on. There's so many different ways that you can get content across, that you can make yourself, even if you aren't on ESPN, you're not on FS1, you're not on a big network, you can go and you can do this and you can build something. And I think that's one of the coolest things is, yes, it's not as traditional as it once was, but I think we are heading in a direction where you get to see so much more and get so many different points of view, where it makes it really cool that the creation space, while yes, it's flooding. I mean, everyone wants to be in it. It's a tough place to break into, but it's very rewarding. And you see what happens when you can, push through and can create a name for yourself, and you don't have to do it through a network.
I mean, if you look at all the big names that have come through over the years, that have burst onto the scene, a lot of them came from a non-traditional space. Yeah. Like, if we're talking about Pat McAfee, he got Barstool, which Barstool had already been built up, and that helped him, but it was the non-traditional route. Dave Portnoy and them, they went the non-traditional route because they weren't having the opportunities. Hell, a lot of these journalists that are out there now, I would argue, even with some of the ESPN talent, Dan Orlovsky took a while for him to get on TV.
Yeah.
And the reason why he didn't was because he wasn't the number one guy as far as, hey, let's go get Dan Orlovsky as the analyst because you know what everyone remembered Dan for?
Running out
Safety
the
in himself,
backhand
right?
thing.
Yeah. He went 12 yards when it was 10, you know? But Dan then posted his content, if I'm not mistaken, kept posting his own content, and then ESPN gave him a call, and here we are, you know? And people like to take in their content in so many different ways and variations, and I think it's trying to find a good balance. And at least what we try to do on the show, hell, Zach, I'll be honest, I am not trying to be like Pat or like Dave because those guys are – they're their own beast.
Yeah.
Right? But did their path open up the doors for what we started to think that there's an opportunity? Yeah. And that's not just for us. That's for a lot of different people here. And we like to have a lot of good insight here. And we like to have fun. And we like to shoot the shit. And we have a lot more coming your way. But we're trying to find what our way of broadcasting is going to be. Our way of being a journalist, because us being a journalist and isn't going to be how some other guys are considered. No offense to you, Zach. No offense to me.
Yeah.
I sure as hell don't consider myself a quote unquote journalist, but I do consider myself a student of the broadcasting world. Does that sound better? No?
Student of the, you can go with it. You know what? Roll with it. I think we roll with it. Student of the broadcasting world.
Student. Always trying to get better here at the Ryan Ripken Show. At least that's what I tell myself. And I also tell myself, when I move, you move, Zach.
Just like that.
Just like that. That was one of the songs, too. I didn't understand Stand Up when I was a kid. You know, essentially showing up to a club, right? Ludacris talking about a lot of different things and activities that definitely wasn't made for 7-year-old Ryan.
Yeah, that's definitely true. There are just so many of those songs, though, where when we started talking about it, that when I look back, I'm like, man, maybe when I was in 6th, 7th grade, I should not have been in 5th grade. I should not have been having that as my top.
Yeah. I mean, we can go down the list of it. I thought also Austin Powers was a kid's movie, Zach, because that's what my mom thought initially.
Definitely not a kid's movie.
The Spy Who Shagged Me, didn't know what that really meant when I was 7.
You thought like a shag carpet or something?
I did. I thought like something was very furry, had no idea. Zero idea. And the jokes that went right over my head and what I pronounced them every single time, you're damn right. Is that a staple in my life to this day? Yes. Yeah. Will my first child watch every single episode or every single Austin Powers 1, 2, and 3 in order every single year? Yes. Maybe at an appropriate age, but yes, builds character, Zach.
Builds character.
Builds character. That's all we're asking for. Building character.
That's what we do here at the Ryan Ripken Show.
That is what we do here at the Ryan Ripken Show. And hey, Chris, we appreciate it. Maybe bring in Rip. Bring us in. Give us a try, Captain. We can do it, said Hut. That's all we need. That's all we need. Anything else that I'm missing on? Oh, Kieran, Pitbull songs.
Oh,
that
Pitbull. Yeah, Pitbull was because Pitbull gets played everywhere, especially when I was growing up. Like Pitbull was one of those songs where, like, no matter what it was about, even in like. I remember being at like a 5th grade dance and they were just playing every other song was Pitbull because everyone just kind of, I don't know if we just as a universe accepted Mr. Worldwide and we're like, whatever he says, we're just going to listen to. But I think Pitbull's definitely up there for artists that did not make songs for kids that every kid growing up was like, oh yeah, I love Pitbull. And it's like, I don't know if you were the target audience for that.
We're at the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. It's iconic. You remember it. And there were songs going way back when he was just singing Shake.
I'm trying to think of just some of the Pitbull ones that.
Well, there's a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. But I'm thinking of the ones that. I got to go back to look at the one that. Oh. International Love when he only names places in the United States.
That's Chris Brown, though, is naming the cities, right?
Yeah, but that's one of my favorite parts is that they sit there and from Miami to New York to LA. It's like, still.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a geographical issue with that song. You know what? That's why I need to bring back Let Me Put My Poems in You, because I love going back and looking at some of the old lyrics and talking about it. And I can put these glasses on, and then we could dim the lights one time and take you back to a time.
Oh, I Know You Want Me. That was one that I like. Every kid was dancing and singing to, and we should not have been belting out those lyrics.
No, not at all. Eminem, Kieran, I saw that. That's one for me. There's a song called Shake That with Nate Dogg and Eminem, or it's Eminem featuring Nate Dogg. And there's a lyric in there, 2 from the 1 to the 3. And, I'll hold off on the rest of that. But I think one of the final lines was smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat. Maybe that was more self-explanatory, but I think I was 12 or 11. The beauty of this, my mom was like, it's got a good beat. It's got a good beat. So we listened to it,
That was the thing. It's the beat that got you. And then all of a sudden you listen to it and you're like, ooh, maybe not kid friendly.
Dude, you know what? I think that needs to become a segment now when people come on. Song that you thought was inappropriate.
Yeah.
Or that you loved. Because now with 21, I want to get my playlist going as well. So with 50 Cent, I'm going to put that on the car and think about the chorus. Would you love me if I was down and out? Would you still have love for me? Girl, there it is. And then I think at the end right there too is, could you love me on a bus? Or could you love me in a Bentley? Could you love me on a bus?
That feels like every minor league story. Could you love me on a bus? Because that just, could you love me despite knowing all my bus stories?
Yeah. The bus stories. Can you imagine doing this at poetry right here, right? Hey, yeah, poetry snaps. Let me put my poems in you. And that would be perfect right there. Could you love me in a Bentley? Could you love me on a bus? I'll ask 21 questions, and they all about us. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I just got my mother texted me about this. Do you remember Flo Rida Low? Where it was like
apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur.
Yeah, so yeah. I got denied. I was in second grade and we had talent show, and me and my friends were gonna do that, and they denied it.
So you thought that was too provocative?
A little. And at the time, we're like, why are they saying no to that?
But such a good song. Well, I thought it was made for second graders.
Like, looking back, I'm like, I understand why maybe they gave me the no vote on that one. So instead we did Pocket Full of Sunshine.
So you're saying for second grade they didn't like the lyrics, them birthday cakes, they stole the show, so sexual, she was flexible?
Yeah, apparently looking back, I don't know what we were going to do performance-wise as second graders for this.
You know what? This also like a different situation. It reminds me of when I was younger, and since I told you about the Austin Powers days, so I was like 7 or 8, and we went to a restaurant. So we lived in like a community when my dad was still playing in spring training. And so then they had at one of like the community places a restaurant, and it was a nicer place. You had to get dressed up, and they had a pianist playing there that night. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to put a song in. So we went over to the guy and he's like, oh, I know what you kids probably want. How about The Lion King? And we're like, no, can you play some Burt Bacharach from, and he's like, Burt Bacharach. I'm like, yeah, from Austin Powers. They're on the top of the bus. And what do you get when you fall in love? Which actually isn't a bad song. It's actually a very genuine song.
He did not expect you.
But he didn't know that's what I said. Yeah, it was in Austin Powers, the International Man of Mystery. Can we put it on? And he was very perplexed, but he was a gentleman and he played some Burt Bacharach. Do you even know who that is?
No.
Oh,
No. Also,
I'll never
I needed-
fall in love again.
I need to specify that this was also at Catholic school. So probably also looking back, there was no chance that was getting approved. We tried though. Shoot, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I would hand that slip in every time. Looking back, you know.
Yeah, you should. You
It's what it's all
should.
about. It's what it's all about.
Yeah, you should. You know what? You should go listen to some Burt Bacharach.
Maybe I'll put that on in the car.
You should
Get a little culture.
get a little culture, and I'll go back and listen to some Low. Yeah, I'm really shocked actually looking at the lyrics that they decided to cancel it. Shorty was hot like a toaster. Sorry, but had to fold her like a pornography poster. She showed her. Why would they think that wasn't good for second grade?
I'm sure they saw that. And I wonder if they even knew about it. If they had to go look up the lyrics or if they listened to it and were like, oh my God. Because they were definitely, while we were doing that, thinking, you're not. I just would have loved to know the thought process of when, like, what, 8-year-old me walked in there, handed them that slip, and they were like, oh, for the talent show, what's your group to? And it was like, because it was like 8 of us. It was like all the guys there. It was like a bunch of us, and we're like, you know what we're doing? Low.
Like, hell yeah.
And everyone's like,
hell
that's it.
yeah.
And then they sent it back, and they're like, actually, you guys are doing Pocket Full of Sunshine. And we're like, this is a little bit less cool. But we still did it. We still rocked it.
Yeah. You know, and I know it's because everyone thinks about baggy sweatpants and the Reeboks with the straps, you know? But this, I have to do a Let Me Put My Poems in You Low edition because there are
a lot of, I'm looking
oh,
at them,
there are some, this is a very excellent choice, Zach. Very excellent choice.
There's
Lil Mama took my cash. And
also,
I
have you
ain't want
ever
it back.
seen that? Have you ever considered that the boots aren't the ones with the fur? That it's the boots with a fur coat is what they're referring to?
Oh,
yeah.
The more you know. I didn't understand.
So
this.
I saw a tweet. This was like a year ago. I saw a tweet about that, and it went viral, and people were like, "This is mind-boggling." I had always assumed it was the boots that had the fur, but I think it's now the boots with the fur. So it's like the boots. She got the boots on, and then she's got the fur on as well. I think he's describing the whole outfit, not just the boots.
It's a pop culture deep dive that we're gonna have to go into. Yesterday,
it is. It's the phenomenons.
We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to do that.
This is what you get when you tune into the Ryan.
Yeah, this is where we get a little bit off topic here when we reach all of our quota for our topics, and now we're riffing and raffing. And Joe, shades inside. It's when we have our poems. Yeah. We might have to change the name of it, but Let Me Put My Poems in You was the initial one. I know it might.
Maybe not to guess, just for Kevin.
Just for Kevin.
We can refer to it as that. If we do it
but like, what do we do? Like, is it Rip Poetry Session where it's Rip Poetry Club?
Ooh, Rip Poetry
Rip
Club.
Poetry Club could be used. Snaps.
We
bring them on in.
Something out for that.
We really should. Yeah, Baby Got Back, Joe. That was, I learned a lot about what the double meaning of an anaconda was at that age. Good. It helps you learn, helps you grow up, to say the least. Last thing to get out here, because I got to hop on a call here in a minute. Got to call in and see what's going on with the guys over at 105.7. But since you asked on this, Ryan, tell us about the day you were born. I'm seeing it was an off day for the O's. Man, we're really doing some recon on this today.
Yeah, for real.
Would the streak have ended in 93 if you were born on a game day? So, truth be told with it, I was a scheduled C-section because of that specific situation, is that my parents didn't want me to be the reason to be caught up in a controversy. So we really don't know the full answer, but I would believe that if it was a game day and I was born, I don't think my dad would have missed my birth, at least from what I was told. So I'm glad we didn't have to figure that out, because Lord knows I already get blamed for other shit. So being the kid that broke the streak, that would have been a fun way to be remembered. I would have taken Cal's kid then over over the kid that ruined baseball.
Yeah. The kid that ruined baseball. Wow,
that would have been great. That would have been something, but I'm thankful. Very thankful for that. Very, very thankful for that. And actually, Gavin Sheets, by the way, just had his first kid.
Yeah.
Him and Kayla.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They were trying to schedule it around no C-section, but having a baby during the baseball season, it's rough.
I will say a lot of fans gave him credit, though. There were a lot of his reaction. It actually went pretty viral.
Blank check.
Yeah. Him having a kid during the All-Star break. They're like, this is a guy who gets it. This is
Yeah.
a guy. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Congrats to him.
Yeah. Super happy for them. Everything went well. So happy about it. And actually, guess who's coming to town to play the Nationals on Friday?
No way. Oh, Gavin?
Derry Bonds himself, Gavin Sheets. I told him we need a Derry Bonds shirt. I don't wear other shirts on the show, like besides, normal or our logo. I will wear a Derry Bonds shirt.
I'd wear a Derry Bonds shirt.
Or a Holy Sheets.
Holy Sheets, Derry Bonds.
That's it.
Holy Sheets, Derry Bonds did it again.
Oops, he did it again. Well, we did it again for the show, and we finally got into the conclusion. If you guys are still listening, make sure you're liking, you're subscribing, and if you're on audio platforms, leave us a review. Helps us get the word out if you enjoy it. We're posting interviews on the podcast platform, so I just dropped the Ryan O'Hearn interview before the All Star Game is up there, plus the Legend Series, plus every live show that we do here. We're going to have a damn good time, and we're sorry, no Kyle with the Iron Rooster. We had to change the plan. We might have Kyle tomorrow, but if not, don't worry. We're going to see him back in action. We might have something else planned with Kyle and the Iron Rooster next week, and we might have a wild Nick Moore returning here. I got a text, and he didn't like that I didn't text him back. He double texted me.
Oh, my God.
He's like, damn, you left me hanging. You might have seen the show was on. I'm like, buddy, I'm sorry.
Nick. Oh my gosh, Nick.
It's good to know he cares.
Yeah, you know what? We'll take that as him caring.
It's good to know that Nick Moore cares about the Ryan Ripken show. He would like to think it's the Nick Moore show.
He would. He would love to.
I would even argue that it's more the Charlie Kohler show than the Nick Moore show.
Oh my God, especially after that interview.
Especially after that. And Charlie, if we're looking at like showing up, I'm just saying.
Yeah, who's been on the show more the past 2 months?
Can you be dependable?
Yeah.
It's all right, Nick. All eyes are on you for the football season. Okay? Kicking doesn't go well. I'm blaming the long snapper.
I mean, I would too. You have to.
Well, we might have some guests lined up for tomorrow, though. Show will be at noon. Noon show tomorrow because your boy is going to be emceeing the Baltimore Business Journal event tomorrow night, which I'm really excited about. And I'll give you guys more of the details later on in the week to showcase that. But that's why we're starting the show tomorrow early. Noon. That is the time. Noon. Anything else, Zach?
No, I think that's good.
All right. Cue the music. Good music. Oh, and 7 Days by Craig David is a good one as a kid. As always here at the Ryan Ripken Show, have a day, have a night, have a great stinking rest of your Wednesday, and come back and join us again on our Thursday show last of the week and kick your weekend off right. Be good. Be good. Be good.